Hello, world. My next guest is a T-shaped B2B marketer with a sharp focus on content strategy. With nearly over a decade of experience, she has honed her marketing expertise from the electrifying world of Tesla to leading B2B initiatives with top IT service providers in Switzerland and beyond. Please join me in welcoming Sara Lattanzio, head of marketing at Striber and LinkedIn creator with over 43,000 followers to the show. Sara, are you ready to get radically transparent with me?
Wow, after such an intro, I better be, I hope.
I hope so. No, we're going to have a lot of fun. But with that, I've had my eye on your LinkedIn account for quite a long time. And the moment that we actually interacted was probably one of the best days I've ever had as a B2B marketer. You have quite the following, the insight that you post, the webinars that you're part of. You're just really interesting. So I'm really excited to get radically transparent with you. The first thing I really am dying to know, what is keeping you up at night these days professionally, especially as head of marketing?
Very good question. So I think today we have too many options. So for me, it is really prioritizing between tactics and long-term strategy to obviously make an impact in the short term, but also in the longer term. And also, since we're not, like a 50 people marketing department, also deciding when good enough is enough. And then I think there is also a bit of FOMO because AI is really disrupting everything. There are so many tools to try, so many workflows, so many tactics. So also staying focused and not constantly, chasing shiny objects. I think creating has never been easier. Now literally anyone can be a creator, publish something, but making sure it sticks, it's never been harder.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And I think what I love about what you post, what you stand for, what you talk about is diving into, right? I know that you recently became a marketing leader. And so I think what's always interesting is, yes, balancing that long-term strategy with the short-term strategy and then all the tools and are they the right tools? And right, making time effective and efficient because we don't have much of it, but there's so much to do. So I can totally relate. With that being said, I'm dying to understand as well because like I said, you're a fantastic leader. Anyone who is listening in, just head on over to Sarah's LinkedIn and you'll see what I'm talking about. What was the most surprising part for you of stepping into marketing leadership, especially at Striber?
Um, I think it's really seeing how much marketing matters here because, especially, I've worked mostly for sales-led companies. And I mean, in those sort of go-to-market motions with long sales cycles, obviously, marketing is really in charge of the top of funnel, which, as we said before, long-term investment. So if you kill that, you kill that, right? But then the other side of the coin is that obviously the sales team is leading all, all client discussions, everything, and so marketing often becomes kind of the PowerPoint department, and also the marketing leader is really not part, of strategic discussions. They're just like an execution arm. Um, I've seen that really, really a lot. And so for me, it was really nice to see that. Obviously, when you join a company at the beginning, everybody's like, yeah, I gotta do this, 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 this. And with Striber, it's really like even more than they promised me at the beginning. And this also extends to the sales team in the sense, I mean, we don't have sales, we have business development. And so really also from their side is really need of advice, of, working at eye level, developing solutions together, open doors, is really, really something I really love. And the last thing is that I would have never suspected that, especially a company in a more traditional field, because we're not talking B2B SaaS, they would be like so happy and prone to test I mean, not everything, but most of the things I suggest. So that's really nice.
That's really a breath of fresh air, I would say. What career advice would you give to younger marketing professionals who are looking to make that leap into a marketing leadership role?
Well, that it's not for everyone because I think especially if you're like somebody who likes to stay in their craft and go deep on one thing, and avoid, high level discussions that literally have not much to do with marketing, that are more like what is the business strategy, and then only thinking how can marketing and all the resources we have, the people we have connect to that. So if you don't like this, probably it's not for you. And I mean, there are nowadays tons of, individual contributor and specialist roles that are equally amazing. So it's about, understanding what you like, what your ambitions are, what fulfills you. And also, I think a lot of people are just in for the title in a way. And I mean, titles are always a lot fancier than they sound.
Agreed, agreed. So I want to shift the conversation for a moment because you and I essentially met because of this exact reason that we're going to talk about now. And it's the topic of personal brand. And I couldn't think of anyone better to have this discussion with. With someone with over 43,000 LinkedIn followers, you're very engaging. You were quite transparent on your comments when people respond. I mean, it's really amazing to see. So I'm going to pose out this question because I know a lot of our audience who are B2B marketers and maybe we're ghostwriting for executives or we need to sell internally the power, of a strong personal brand. Do you, in your opinion, think that having a strong personal brand on LinkedIn is an advantage for marketers or for anyone on the C-suite? And knowing that, how do you adjust your content strategy for your personal brand, right, to present yourself on LinkedIn, as a marketing leader stepping into this role? How do you tie it all together? What's the importance of it, in your opinion?
So, as a marketing leader, yes, definitely it gives you visibility and authority, and it's kind of you eat your own dog food, right? Because I mean nowadays we're not doing print anymore, so like if you can show any success under your belt, I think it's a very strong talking point also to get internal buy-in, right? Because then you become automatically a coach and an inspiration. I think, if there is the case that your audience overlaps with your company's audience, then it becomes obviously also an acquisition channel. But it can also lead obviously to conflict of interest, right? So in my case, we don't have that at Striber because they are kind of they're targeting a business decision maker, C-level innovation manager. So I use my audience to drive brand awareness and employer branding mostly. I mean, we had quite some people, surprisingly or not, applying, saying, "Oh yeah, we came across Sarah's profile. She talks so highly of Striber. We were totally bought in, right?" That's really amazing to see. And also, you never know. All roads lead to Rome. When you create this brand awareness, this positioning, then you don't know, who's in your audience. If maybe somebody's, interested in your content, and then they're also interested in the business. So definitely a win-win. And I think since I joined Striber, I think I became a bit more bolder, obviously, in positioning me as a leader, obviously, to talk more about the work that I do, people management, my first time leadership experience. This was just like a whole, if you will, content pillar that I didn't have before. But I think what is really, really nice is that I didn't have to adjust my tone at all because one of the values at Striber is kind of a no bullshit attitude, literally called like that. So, this is actually something that when I read the job description, I was like, okay, that's literally me. And yeah, so that's it.
I think it's mind-blowing, but also you bring a lot of good points around personal brand. And as someone who's been growing their personal brand, could you talk to us a little bit about what goes into that? Like what one like w- I mean, how do you get even to 43,000 followers? What are you doing consistently? And what would you say, right, is if you could give, I guess, one even piece of advice to anybody who wants to do what you are doing, what would be the biggest takeaway as you've built this massive following?
So first of all, you're asking this at a weird time because LinkedIn reach is at an all-time low. Like in 4 years, I've never seen this happening, and I think I mean people always ask me what do you do? Honestly, I don't know what I do. I mean, I think a big chunk is just being consistent and obviously working a full-time role. It's like my time is limited, so I need to make some sacrifices, during the weekend, during the week, in the evening to really make sure the content will keep spinning in a way. And the more you create, the easier it gets. That's just true, right? And also, I mean, I'm a practitioner first, so having, a source of steady content ideas via my job, via LinkedIn, via the people in my network is just easy, because then you just need to be good at documenting. Um, and then I think I always thought, it's kind of us marketing people also, because everybody's like, everyone can do marketing, right? We're kind of used to, yeah, but crafting a post is like table stakes, everyone can do it, right? Until you realize that the same situation, people can present it and communicate it in 500 different ways, right? So I think apart from the consistency, probably the key ingredients are a passion for keep doing this, even when, yeah, you get 1,000 impression on a post, but you still see the value of communicating, but also being a good storyteller, and in my opinion, this is a bit like a good singer, yes, you can take singing lessons, you can become a decent singer, but if you have a voice like Lady Gaga or Adele, I mean, that's just a gift of God, in my opinion, right? So,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. So it actually leads me nicely into my next question for you because over the last few months, I've been getting into a lot of debates with other B2B marketers around this kind of thought, I guess, that in today's modern day marketing world, right, that sometimes it can be more powerful for an executive to be doing what you're doing and posting on their own personal profile to, you know, increase brand visibility, generate leads, demand gen, right? All the marketing things that traditionally we would rely on the corporate channel for. In your opinion, do you think A, personal branding is critical for executives today? And then B, can you share some of the ways that you think that personal branding is more powerful than the corporate brand itself?
I think, first of all, we tend to forget that personal branding is not only LinkedIn, right? I mean, and it's also not only social media, it's really just having a reputation and communicating your messages where there is the right target audience. So if you can do it in a niche offline community, then so be it, you achieved your goals there. Um, I think, again, it's critical if there is a target audience to reach, but also if they enjoy it, because I don't think that personal branding can be outsourced. And I think it's basically giving your leader, a loudspeaker, a megaphone. And so if they don't have anything meaningful to share, and if kind of they bet on somebody else to craft all their pitches, it will shine through, right? I think obviously, I mean, at the time we had like the PR person, the person who stood, like in the back and was like, that's totally okay, right? But I think you need to have strong opinions in the first place. And yeah, I mean, obviously building trust, especially as an example, Striber, professional service company consulting, it's a people business, it's a relationship business. So the such companies start founder led, the founder is the person at the beginning who just builds the business on their network, basically. So there is no case where this is more important, and having a solid reputation makes all the difference, will always outweigh the corporate brand.
It's well said. So listen, I get a lot of pushback, right? Because part of my job is to help our customers, right? Help for employee advocacy programs, gain the buy-in of their executive team of why they should be, thought leaders on LinkedIn or posting, and building this personal brand. What advice would you give to a CEO who wants to build a personal brand and also stay true to their personality, right? Because as you shared, right, not everybody is going to be a natural at being bold or putting themselves out there, but they may want to or they may have the right network to do so. So where should they start or what how should they approach this?
Well, okay, let's first, make a distinction between I don't know, a company like Roche or Novartis or UBS, in that case, there are several reasons why building a personal brand is a pure PR play and will be never transparent and managed by the person themselves. I mean, there are also, yeah, legal implications, right? But I would say in a situation where it's us common mortals, I think first and I was not aware of how important that is. Really the leader needs to see the value and be like, yes, help me make this happen. Then of course, maybe this is also not a guarantee for consistency, because a CEO is incredibly busy all the time, especially when business get rough, or tough, or a lot of fires, whatever. But the desire and the prioritization is there. So without this, I would say already it's not going to work. Maybe it will work a couple of weeks and then ciao. Then regarding the workflow, I'm constantly tweaking it. I'm constantly trying to make it easier for him. But I think what works is time blocking for creation. So really making sure there is an hour where just like there is rough output, and they can maybe record a video, a voice note, whatever. Obviously they need to prepare a little in advance. And then also maybe sharing regularly prompts for topics that are related. I mean, first define obviously the topics that they need to talk about, and then sharing prompts or news that they can use as a talking point to craft their posts. And also maybe trying to create some MVP templates that they can use to then improve. I think what is very important is understanding that the content is in their day to day, right? I think especially as a founder, there is a lot to say. There are a lot of client stories, market intel, whatever. So it's really about making them understand that this is content, because they're like, I mean, that's just my job, kind of. And also then being good at documenting, because you will never be able to grasp all those conversations.
Totally. I think that's some of the best advice ever given, especially with their busy schedules. I love the prompts. I think that's key, right? And kind of how you tied it back right to the PR with the little, maybe a little microphone in your ear, like the little whispers when you're like at the press conferences. I think that holds true here, just in a little bit of a different way. You're there to bring out their most authentic selves, but you can only do that with the right prompts, the right direction, and the consistency, which you mentioned earlier. So as we keep all of this in mind to craft and create, a personal brand for our executives and coach them and, help lead the way, how do you measure the success of a personal branding strategy for an executive? $1 million question.
Um, Sorry?
I said
What did you?
$1 million questions. How are you measuring the
Yeah.
success of personal brand?
So it's branding. So it's really not about, as the word says, so it's not about direct conversions. I think that should also not be the goal, because it would discount the whole thing. So personally, we look at, engagement, so likes, comments, and actual conversations. And you would be surprised, even with posts that on the outside have a couple of likes, the inbox looks very different. And I think really like it's about activating, the network that they have. And you really see that people, and this also keeps the whole engine going, are like, oh, I saw your latest post, it's been a while, why don't we grab a coffee, something like this, right? Obviously follower growth, even if niche topics will never lead to, I mean, the goal is not to make them an AI guru influencer. So, but obviously, if they keep being active, there should be some sort of follower growth. And also website traffic from LinkedIn. Then we also made the experiment, where we kind of seeded the content, maybe we tried display, comment for having the PDF or whatever. Worked very well, also because in our industry nobody does it. And obviously in that case we tracked also, how many people, engaged with those posts and requested specifically the content.
Nice, nice. So last question for you as we wrap up. And this might be very hard for you, just putting it out there, but What is one thing you can tell us about yourself that we actually cannot learn about you from simply looking at your LinkedIn profile?
So this might ha be hard for me because I overshare my life on LinkedIn. That's what you're saying.
No, you don't overshare at all. It's a perfect blend. But I know for our thought leaders who come on the show who are open books, this question usually can be a little bit tricky, which I love. So, what can you share with us?
So actually, I wish that we lived or I lived in a time where, when tech supported relationships and work instead of leading them. So I would take back my Nokia 3310 without data any day, because at least back then people had to think twice, before they invested like 10 cents in sending an SMS. It had really, really a goal and a purpose.
Oh my gosh,
So
you just brought me back to my Motorola days and like filling my phone card with like minutes.
yes, yes. Yeah,
Brilliant.
that's missing a bit today. I really wish a bit more authenticity wouldn't hurt.
I love it. Sarah, thank you for joining me and for getting oh so radically transparent. If anybody would like to connect with you, learn more about Striver, any of the work that you're doing, where's the best place to connect?
I think you know the answer, right? What is it?
I'm going to take a chance here and say LinkedIn. Go ahead, follow, connect with Sarah right on LinkedIn. She's waiting for you.
It's not TikTok, exactly.
There you go. Thank you so much, Sarah.